So, Vice President J.D. Vance announced that he's expecting another child with his wife, Usha Vance, and surprisingly, but not surprisingly, MAGA is outraged about this. Why, you may ask? Because they support J.D. Vance. Well, they don't support the fact that he married an Indian American and that his children are brown. And you would think J.D. Vance would be there for his wife, defend her, protect his children. No, what does this guy do? He continues to publicly embarrass his wife and his children so publicly. It's pathetic the way he tries to convince all of us that his children are actually white and that he doesn't support immigration from countries like India, even though his wife is Indian, his children are Indian, and he allows these people in the MAGA white supremacist cult to disrespect his wife and his children. What a pathetic, small little man J.D. Vance really is. And I don't congratulate him on his child because I think he's a traitor to our country.
Hello, I'm Yasharala. It's your brother Darash Shamat. I'm affiliate of the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm back with another lesson. Before we jump into it, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rikakudash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of that great millstone for bringing out this truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect, which includes the 144,000 arrested elect out there scattered around the world, including those speckled bird Israelites who may look like the other nations, but are not. This is not a skin color thing. It's not a black thing. The Israelites were scattered all around the world. They mix with these other nations, and they look like these other nations, but you are who you are according to the seed of your father. So this word goes out to the 12 tribes scattered abroad because the scriptures were only written unto the nation of Israel. So we just saw the intro video of this guy going into the fact that MAGA is upset over J.D. Vance, who is, biblically he would be an Edomite. They're the so-called white man today predominantly, but again, it's not about skin color. His wife is an Elamite, okay? And they had a child, and they're like, oh, the child, is mixed, and, they come with all that purity of the white race and all of this, kind of like, racist, nonsense, but racism, is established, in the scriptures, coming from the Heavenly Father. All right, because he has a favorite people, his nation, Yasharala, the princes of the power. Okay, but the big concept that I take away from the response of MAGA to that is that these peons, they don't have a ruling class mindset. Okay, and I could say that to 2/3 of our people, Yasharala. Okay, they don't have that ruling class mindset, and these other nations. Okay, the peons or the peasants of those nations, these low-level worker class people, okay, who are not, of that elite class, they don't have that ruling class mindset, that, that conquering, other nations mindset, okay, because they've been so confused with the philosophies and doctrines that Esau has pushed out. Okay, they really believe that skin color determines who you are. So in the video, the guy tells you that J.D. Vance says that his child is white. And J.D. Vance, would be correct. His child is what he is, because you are what your father is. That child, no matter what color woman he came out of, is an Edomite, because his father is an Edomite. Okay? So if I plant a seed in the soil in America, whatever seed I planted, that's what plant's gonna come out. If I go plant that seed in China, it's the same seed gonna come. The same plant gonna come out. If I go plant that seed in Russia, same plant gonna come out. If I go plant that seed in Africa, same plant will come out. If I go plant it in Western Asia, okay, over there in the Holy Land, the same plant will come out if I'm using the same seed. Okay. So you are who you are according to the seed of your fathers. And here's a few precepts. It's Numbers chapter 1 and verse 2. And it says, take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families by the house of their fathers. You see, the father is the important one in the family. The most important member of any family is the father. Okay, he sets the tone. That determines who you are. Whoever your father is, that's who you are. Okay, that is who your family is. That's who you align with. Okay, yes, your mother, still matters, okay, But your mother is the incubator to your father's seed. She doesn't determine who you are. She's playing her role in the family of producing that man's seed. So J.D. Vance, a Edomite, he can put his seed into any woman of any nation, and that seed will come out as an Edomite. Okay? It says, with the number of their names, every male by their polls. So let's go down to Numbers 1 and 18. And it says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Okay? Not by their mother. It doesn't matter who your mother is. Okay? You got to keep reiterating this to y'all. According to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. Okay? So if you have a ruling class mindset, you would not have a problem with your men dealing with women of other nations, because that's producing more of your nation. But our people and, the rest of the world has been confused by this whole color doctrine that Esau has basically put out. And that's very invalid. Okay? So a lot of you are hating on your own people and you have no idea. Okay? You're so confused. All right? That's why the foundations of this world are out of course and it's upside down, because the wicked are in rule. Okay? When Yasharallah gets back on top, we're going to set everything right. Okay? We're not going to have all of this confusion and nonsense in the world. All right? We're going to turn this place, this world that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua gave us to rule back into paradise under the rulership of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, King David, the 12, and the rest of the 144,000. So, let's go to Daniel chapter 7 and verse 18. And it says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever, even forever and ever. Okay? So, our rulership is never going to end. So, things are always going to be right side up, when we are in rulership. So, when we come down off those chariots and we're turned from fishers into hunters, as it talks about in Jeremiah 16 chapter. Jeremiah 16 and 16, it says, behold, I will send for many fishers, said Yahweh, which would be the prophets on the highways and byways, right now, and they shall fish them. So, preaching the word to them. Okay, Yahweh shall say, I will make you fishers of men. And after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain. So we'll be transformed. We don't know what Yahweh shall be like, but we'll be like him. Okay? We'll know when we see him, and we'll be like him. And it's going to be amazing. And from every hill and out of the holes of the rock. So we're going to go hunt these devils, all these, heathens that are hiding. Okay? We're going to get them out. And we're going to enslave them. We're going to put chains upon them. All right? We're going to enjoy it. We're going to have fun. Okay? And just like in the book of Numbers, when Moses told him, that you could take these women captive, okay? Get rid of the women who aren't virgins and keep the virgin women for yourself, okay? Because that would produce more Israelites, and that's what you need as a ruling class mentality. And none of the nations have it, not even Esau, Edom, okay? As a whole, just the elite, okay? And I would say the elite of our nation, which would be the elect, they have that ruling class mindset, and they understand that too. We're just not on the top right now, okay, to really push that forward, all right? But it's just sad to see our people, in this dumbed down state. But even though this video is about, like the Edomites, but whatever, they're responsible for this confusion anyway. So let's go, let's see, Leviticus, I think it's 25. Yep. This is Leviticus 25. In verse 44, it says, both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids which thou shalt have shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you to inherit them for possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule one over another with rigor. Okay? And so if you think back in history, whenever nations conquered other nations, they enslaved them. They took them as their servants. Well, Yahweh Shai is going to get the whole world according to second Psalms. Yeah, Psalms chapter 2, around like verse 8. Okay? And we know that we'll be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, with Yahweh Shai, Salakia. Okay, in the kingdom. And so we're going to have these heathens, as our possessions also. Okay? And so that means we're going to get to pick of the litter of their women too. And we're going to use them to bring forth more Israelites. Okay? And so that's just part of the ruling class, mentality to have. All right? So we got to come out of this Babylonian way of thinking. Okay? Stop being drunk with the wine of the serpent. So Psalms 2 in verse 8 says, Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine possession, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thine possession. Okay? So they'll be ours. We'll be to do what we want with them. All right? Who can tell you what to do with your property? Who can tell you, no, I can't have this concubine? Okay? Because that's what J.D. Vance's wife is to him, a concubine. She's not a member of his nation, so that's his concubine. All right? His possession. All right? And so this whole that you could like mix races and stuff like that is just utter folly and nonsense. All right? And so there would be, there's nothing wrong with this man, basically, conquering another nation and taking their women. All right? Their nation is on top right now, and that's just how things are. But they pushed out all of this confusion, and now they're getting backlash for it. But hopefully for our people, well, I can't say hopefully because we already know how that's going to play out. 2/3 of them shall be cut off and die, but 1/3 shall be brought through the fire. So it's no hopefully. We already know what's going to happen. Yahweh Shem Yahshai already declared the end from the beginning. So, well, that's it for this short lesson. But change your mindset, Jake. We need to have this ruling class mentality. Yahweh Shem Yahshai told us that we were above every other nation. So let's go. Let me get that. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. It says, For thou art an holy people, so set apart unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of this earth. So you're the cream of the crop, Jacob. So start acting like it. And get ready for rulership, because that's what's coming next. But we got a hefty trial to go through before we get there. So, hope this lesson was edifying. Shalom, Yasharallah.